Hello, good evening, and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
Myself, Stephen George. Good evening.
Good evening. It's the 3rd of April, 2016. And we have a packed show tonight, loads of information. We have a great guest on, Goode. Corey has been on the show before with David Wilcox. So this is kind of a part 2 with Corey only. And we're going to be finding out all about things that are going on outside of the planet and maybe on the planet as well. Because there is an awful lot of stuff going on and stuff we're not being told about. And hopefully Corey will be able to educate us and inform us of information things that have been going on since the last time we've had him on the show. But before we go to Corey and before we talk about things that happened during the week, let's find out what the communication channels are.
Yes, communication channels this evening are...
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Thanks, Mary. Yes, the phone number is 046 927 1212. If you want to call in from outside the Republic of Ireland, the phone number will be 00353 469 271212. We've also got Facebook as well, the anti-social media, and you can find us on there. Just pop along to the website, oymradio.com. You will see the Facebook link. You can check us out there. You will also see on the website the TuneIn radio application that's available as well. You can just go on over to tunein.com. You will see the app there. You can download it for free. You can pop it on your iPhone or your Android phone. You can check us out there. And we also have the chat room as well. If you want to put some questions up there for Corey this evening, just log on to oymradio.com. You will see again the link for the chat room. Just log in there with your real name or a pseudonym, and you can put your questions up there. We're also going to monitor People's Internet Radio for questions as well. So, all bases covered. So, big hi to everyone in the chat room already, and hope you're looking forward to a great show, because it's definitely going to be great. Alan.
Great stuff. All right. Just before we bring Corey in, there's a few things we're going to have a chat about. The first thing is, again, we hate to go on about donations for OYM, because we know a lot of people, most people don't have the money, but if you do have a few shekels, a few shillings in your pocket that you can afford to donate to OYM, that's going to be much appreciated. There is a few things that we want to get, a few more things that we want to get for the studio, and I will say that the donations that we've had have been fantastic. We've been able to update Studio 2, get a few more equipment for Studio 2, a few techie bits, few bits and pieces, and we did the update a couple of weeks ago, as you know, in Studio 1, thanks to Chris. And we're just adding a few more bits to the studio to make life a bit easier for us, both in Studio 1 and Studio 2. So if you have a few quid, by all means, pop up to the website. That'd be much appreciated. If you don't mind doing that, that'd be fantastic. Steve?
Yeah, we just want to mention there's going to be a Banking and Money Reform Conference in Dublin on the 29th of April 2016 with Professor Richard Werner, and a submission form from Positive Money. You can check it out on publicbankingalliance.ie. That's www.publicbankingalliance.ie. A summary of what's going to be on there is the Banking and Money Reform Conference. The Dublin venue info will be coming up shortly. Okay.
Oh. Wow.
There's some music in the background. Okay. Yes, again, it's going to be the 29th of April. It's going to be morning to mid-afternoon. The entry fee for corporate and academics is going to be €50. Private individuals, €20. Students and unemployed, €10. Again, you can check that out on publicbankingalliance.ie. I will pop the link up in the chat room.
Brilliant. And the last thing before we get Curry on is there's an article in the Irish Examiner, and it's just about a mother of a Cork boy receiving a cannabis treatment in the US. And she kind of said that it's illogical not to have cannabis oil available in Ireland. And basically the article said, in 2015, Yvonne Callahan and her son, 2-year-old son Tristan, relocated to Colorado to begin treatment for his epilepsy, which he uses cannabis oil for. Yvonne still cannot believe the treatment isn't legal in Ireland. And, I mean, folks, you know about the cannabis oil. We've talked about it time and time again. We've had a number of doctors on talking about it, and Ricky Simpson. And is a big benefit, a big medical benefit. Unfortunately, as you know, Ireland is way behind the times. The last time they did a vote to legalise, well, they had a vote to legalise cannabis, and there was 8 people voted for it, and 111, I think, voted against it. So we are just, as Bernadette Bowen said to us, 15 years behind the times. The labelling laws, and probably 15 years behind everything else. It's going to take a while, but we just need to keep pushing and educating people about the benefits of cannabis oil. That's what we need to do. Right, okay, without further ado, we're going to get our guest in now. Corey's been on the show before with David Wilcock, and he has fantastic information. We had server meltdown when Corey was on with David. That's how popular he is. So it's just fantastic information that Corey has been doing, has been working on, and I'm sure there's people out there that have been gone off to his website on a regular basis and just getting updates from what he's been doing. So good evening, Corey. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. How about you guys?
Not too bad.
Yeah, very good.
Good. Thanks a lot for coming on. Much appreciated. Corey, you've been on the show before, and I don't want to take up a lot of time with, because your biography is very large. But if you just want to give us a snippet of your bio, just for people who are new to you, and just give us little bit of a background, and then we'll shoot on from there.
Sure, I'll give you the abridged version of that long bio that has been read most recently on interviews. It's pretty long. I at a young age, I come from a military family, a high concentration of Navy. When I was young, around the age of 6, I started to be brought into what is commonly referred to as a MyLab program. It stands for Military Abductions. In that program, I was groomed until the age of just before 17, when they brought me into a program called the 20 and Back program, where I was brought into the secret space program, to where I would serve a 20-year term and then be age regressed and brought back 20 years to the point I left in time, and then inserted back into my life.
Right.
That's
okay.
The summary version.
Okay. And do you want to tell us what you're working on now, today, at the moment?
Well, I'm continuing to shoot episodes of Cosmic Disclosure with David Wilcock up at Gaia Television. Next week, I'm actually going up to shoot another round of episodes. And then I'm also working on a new project with a bunch of other people, and it's called the Full Disclosure Project. And it's a project that's trying to bring about unity in the community, get us all to just agree to disagree on all of our different UFO and esoteric ideologies, and focus on what we have in common, which is we want to know the truth about what's going on in these secret programs and what they know about what's going on in the cosmos. And if we shake loose all of these little distortions that keep us separate, then we can band together and make a big difference.
Well, before we went live, we were just having a quick chat about things, and I just said that the amount of disinformation out there is just phenomenal, and there's a hell of a lot going on at the moment. I just don't know how, to be honest with you, how to filter the information, because you get to a stage where you think, is anything real because of the amount of disinformation out there? Apart from you've first-hand information, you're given first-hand information, but do you have some kind of filtering system when you read information or look at information? What would you recommend people do? How do we know what's right, and how do we know it's just disinfo?
Well, it's really difficult, because everybody uses their life experiences and their all the research they've done throughout their life on this topic and the belief systems they've developed to form basically a lens of perception. And when new information comes into the picture, and that information coming in as light, they pull up that lens and hold it up to that new information to filter or refract it through their filter of understanding. So each of us have a different lens, and we're myopic, and we're seeing things through our preconceived belief systems.
Well,
a lot of it is us doing it to ourselves. We do have a lot of disinfo, and a lot of people that are being dishonest, and it's a problem. And the only way we're going to get past it is to finally decide, hey, we're going to come together, and let's not focus on all these different information dumps that come from all these different areas that conflict, that in the past dates have come and gone and people have become disillusioned. Well, that's what all that's designed to do. So we need to put our blinders on to a lot of this stuff and try to focus on just flooding the mainstream with information about the nuts and bolts stuff that they'll accept about the secret space program's existence, which they're in the middle of unrolling a disclosure program about, especially the Navy. So this is all it's going to kind of happen on several fronts. There's a program of a limited disclosure occurring, and then there's the community that's rising up saying, listen, we know there's a lot more than what y'all want to tell us. We want to know what it is. And, there's this community has been so infiltrated by, mentally ill hucksters, intelligence agents, the whole gamut, that, it's very difficult for us to try to pick through all of this and figure out what's true. And we use the word discernment a lot. And, that's the best we can do right now until we get a full disclosure. Because when that happens, every single one of us is going to have a complete paradigm shift. I don't care how much we think we know the full truth. We're all going to be knocked to our knees and, have to get back up and help the rest of humanity that's been totally asleep.
Okay, and whereabouts are we now at the moment? Because there seems to be an awful lot going on. Again, we kind of have to refer to Planet X and Nibiru. Sky TV came out there a few weeks ago and said that they found a Planet 9, and is that a cover for Planet X or Nibiru, or is it something else? Is a more sinister? I mean, where are we at the moment with everything? I won't say everything because that's a show in itself. But with the Cabal, are the Cabal on the are they on the back foot? Are we winning with them?
Yes, the Cabal right now is in complete disarray. They, many have reported about their real these last attempts reek of desperation. Russia came in and stomped ISIS basically out of Syria. They flooded back through Turkey and then were sent into cells, put into different cells and sent through Europe and sent out by the thousands by the operational, if you include the operational personnel and operational support people, there were thousands of people that they sent out to at some point try to have some big hurrah type of ISIS event in the West, widespread. And this is a Cabal tactic to get us to, look over to divert us while they continue to go like ants into hills into the ground. The elite, while they leave, just like the Nazis did in World War II, leaving the people that were mainly seen in the public and known about to stand in front of the Nuremberg trials to say I was only following orders.
Okay, and currently the way things are, we were told, again, it's open to, interpretation, I suppose, but we were told that basically what they want to do, because they're on the back foot and they're up against it, that they're trying to cause a number of things. A number of things have been stopped and obviously Syria being one of them, with Putin going in and doing what he did. But they want to have global chaos, martial law, so they can bring in martial law and they can actually, and crash the dollar and everything else. And the financial system, there's a lot of talk about the crashing of the financial system, but what we were told recently was that that's been stopped by let's say, the white hats and also the
Alliance.
oil.
Yes, the Alliance stepped in and slowed down the Freefall and is wanting to make a less stressful transition to a new currency and financial system. Well, not necessarily currency, but to a new financial system. And some of the alliance types of groups had intervened, and this was a part of the backroom deals that have been going on.
Okay, and what about this? We hear an awful lot about this Nesara prosperity funds, Saint Germain. I mean, have you heard anything about that? Is that Disinfo?
Well, not those in particular, but the discussion of jubilees, debt forgiveness, and the sliding scale, giving money to peoples across the planet, depending upon what country they live in, what they suffered under over the last 100 years, especially, and how many dependents are in the family. They've figured all of that out, and that is something that is real and is very much a part of the negotiations. And they think it's the only way to really buy goodwill among humanity before they bring about a second type of world governance that the Alliance wants to do.
Okay, but the fact that you say world governance, is that not like something that the New World Order were trying to do?
The New World Order was trying to put together a one world government, an extremely fascist and scary one. The Alliance has basically said, listen, we're in a cosmic neighborhood here, and we're in a very popular area of the cosmic neighborhood. We having a one world government is inevitable. We're going to defeat the Cabal, and we're going to do it right. And the Alliance has good intentions, but they've been infiltrated. There are problems. A lot of them have ethical issues, but these are the people that are doing battle with the Cabal.
Okay, and whereabouts are we now, do you think, Corey, compared to over the last 10 years? Are things accelerating at the moment where maybe a 2-year window, 3-year window? What would you say yourself? I mean, I hate to talk about, talking about dates is always kind of more a window of opportunity rather than dates. But,
and I've always, with talking with David, I've always told him I stay away from dates. And, the dates that were widely talked about when I was in the program of the expected dates of things occurring were between 2018 and 2023 is when they expected disclosure and release of technologies.
Wow, so we still have a few years to go.
Yeah, but things have accelerated to a point to where, I don't know if we're going to make it that far. I mean, I think it may happen before that if the lower secret space program, the military and intelligence secret space program, continues to slowly unroll information about the existence of their program, which is, it's the Navy and a few other groups are a part of disclosing this program.
Okay, so the likes of the disclosure, now we hear about soft disclosure all the time rather than, Obama or somebody coming out and actually saying, by the way, this is this is what's going on.
Yeah,
And,
we're bathed in soft disclosure right now.
Okay, and I take it the likes of the X-Files, you've probably seen that series in, Series 10, Episode 1, where they basically spelled everything out, near enough everything out in that show. Did you see that?
They spelled out a narrative.
Yeah.
With some nuggets of information, with some good nuggets of information. But, that was definitely more of the, obviously more of the elite narrative dream of what they would like to see occur.
Right, okay. Because we were talking about this on one show, and we said Chris Carter, who's obviously the person who does the scripts for the show, must have been given obviously the information, but the approval to actually use that kind of script.
Oh yeah, it was more than approval. It was most likely most of that was fed to him to put into a script.
Okay, because that was interesting. I mean, that was a kind of jaw-dropping. Boy, they're telling us. I mean, this must be part of the soft disclosure.
Yes, and another part of about 8 months ago, and I put myself out there saying this. I was told that there were several new whistleblowers that were being groomed that were going to be coming forward, and that in the future, near future, we're going to see a very big change in Hollywood and music and all the other mass media. They're going to start all of a sudden showing all of these movies and television shows and documentaries about the ufology that we know, that Roswell kind of stuff, and even ancient alien kind of, just the kind of stuff that's going to be peppering the subconscious of the masses.
Okay, and the likes of we hear an awful lot about Nibiru and Planet X. Sky TV a few weeks ago came out and said, there is a Planet 9 out there, and we've heard different opinions on Planet X and Nibiru, that they're two different things. We have people on who've done the investigation. Again, I think it's all kind of based on different levels, and depending on what level you're privy to, and the information will depend on how you form your opinion on it. Where there's probably other levels above that, where Planet X could be, like we've heard people talking about Planet X saying it's coming in and it's seen in the sky. There's other people have said on a higher level that yes, it is there, but it's been, it's going to be shielded and protected, so it actually doesn't have any effect on planet Earth at all, and it'll just come and go, and that's it. So I don't know. What's your take on that at the moment?
Well, I don't buy into the whole Nibiru thing. That's but there are Planet X's out there. There are ice giants that are flying around in the Kuiper Belt region that are out or beyond the ecliptic plane that are extremely large, that we will, I'm sure, be finding someday. There is a failed star called that has been referred to as a nemesis star. That is, it's much further away than most think. It's right out close to our heliopause, and it's because of the energetic area that we've been reaching in the galaxy. Our sun has been experiencing energetic changes, and so has this dwarf star that's it's been putting off energy as well. And this will be a time a time that it would be picked up by the new instruments that mainstream science has put out there looking for this type of thing. So I think that now would be in the next couple of years would be a really good time for them to, quote unquote, find this nemesis star and announce it.
So what's the second sun they're saying? I mean, people around the world, I mean, there's so many photos out there that all of them can't be fake. But people are seeing a second sun, and they're saying, what's that? I mean,
Well, I don't know what, it's hard to say, people with the photographs, and people are seeing it with the naked eyes. I have not seen that phenomenon myself. There's all kinds of weird, gravitational and our atmospheric lensing that happens and stuff. And I'm not saying that that's what it is. I just haven't experienced it myself. And when I've been out there, I have not seen anything that could be that large and put off that much light. You can't even see the dwarf star. So I don't know what the people are photographing, seeing, and reporting.
Yeah, I find it a bit strange because I got myself and Steve, we have welding. A welding mask is grade 14. It's a filtering, so you can actually look at the sun directly if you hold it up. And myself and Steve have them, and on a regular basis, I take it out and have a look, and I never see anything there. And I'm going, how come we're not seeing it and other people around the world are seeing it? So there must be something scientifically that we're missing.
Yeah, I would like to see some people that, when they're seeing it, to take some photographs through some lenses with filters or something. They and not played around with software afterwards. But there are all types of phenomenon out there that we don't know how to categorize, so we put into a category that we already have in our brain. So it'd be good if it's there. It'd be good to see it. I will say that. And I think that's going to be one of the things that at some point people will be told about.
Excellent. And the disclosure, just going back to the disclosure, what you're saying is that it has been agreed that it's going to be a soft disclosure, and that's going to be over a period of time. Did they tell you what will that be, like 50 years, 100 years? What's the plan of attack? Because obviously there's agreements between the Cabal and the Sphere Alliance. Well,
I guess we're going with the Cabal group, the secret Earth governments and their syndicates, the ones that are coming to the table with these alliance groups, are agreeing on a limited disclosure, because a lot of these data dumps, these document dumps that talk about the crimes against humanity that were implemented to keep secrets and everything. Well, there's egg on the faces of both sides. So there's some information they're not real excited to come out. So they think that a limited disclosure over a 100-year period is a good idea, or a full disclosure over a 100-year period, but making sure that certain people have had the opportunity to live a full life and pass away occurs.
Right, okay. Because obviously the whole thing about the Cabal, if there is negotiations going on with them, you walk out the door and you look up in the sky and our sky is being pumped full of chemtrails. And I'm kind of asking myself, as I'm sure Steve does, if the Cabal, if they know that the days are numbered and there's negotiations going on, why are they still spraying the stuff in the sky?
These people are zealots. They will push their agenda and fight as if they are going to have some sort of miraculous being that's going to arrive and save them from the very last minute as they're sacrificing themselves. They have these, very romanticized ideas of their particular cultic beliefs.
So even though they know that their backs against the wall and they're losing the battle, they're still going to keep on doing it.
Oh yeah, they're going, and part of it is they're like I guess children that before they leave the playground frustrated, they stick a hole in the football, so no one else can play. They've got to tear up the toys before they leave in a tantrum. Yeah,
that's because that's the visual that we can all see, and when we see that stopped, then we'll know something's happening. But as long as they keep spraying that stuff, I still think that the Cabal are in control and they're running the show.
Well, they're right now they're fighting for their last bastion of public control and show of might, and that that's control over the United States. The political, the visible control. And right now, the thing with Bernie Sanders and Trump and the big movement behind them is freaking the establishment out. I mean, they're going to do. They've put out that they'll do whatever it takes to make sure neither one of those two characters make it in as nominees. So, I mean, these people they're running scared. They're in a panic, and they for the last year they've been moving so much food and weaponry and beans and bullets, I guess you could say, down to secret bases down in South America, and routed, as reported by a couple other people, to Antarctica. Okay,
yeah. Antarctica has been in the news in the last few weeks about Obama going there as well.
He went to Antarctica?
Well, there was something. Don't quote me on it, but I did come across something saying he went up there, or somebody went up there. I think it was Obama went up there for secret negotiations. There's been a lot going on up there in the last few weeks, and I'm not sure.
Are you talking about maybe Argentina? He was in Argentina.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not long ago.
Yeah. Okay. Because obviously, but Antarctica has been in the press. It has been in the news in the last few weeks. I don't know what's going on up there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, mainly below the ice. But yeah, the briefing I was given recently spoke about I'm trying to remember if it was called a West Antarctic Rift. It was this huge underground rift area that runs all the way up to underneath South America and Argentina and Chile, and all the way up under to Brazil, the fissures do. And some of the areas are so huge that they have giant submarines, black subs that use electromagnetic propulsion, and some of them are cargo ship sized and transport shipping containers inside of them. They're that big.
Is this part of their departure, getting sorted for when they realise that that's it, they're going to leave the playground, that they'll just depart?
Well, yeah. I mean, and some of them think they're going underground for different reasons. Some of them think they're going underground and going under the ice there before a big solar flash hits the planet. Some of them think that they're going down to escape probable prosecution or execution. Others are told, that there's an asteroid coming, or there's total social collapse coming, and of course the wealthy are going to be the target, so they need to write it out. They're not all given the same narrative.
Okay.
But they're given a similar plan.
Do you know what the narrative is for the people like yourselves? I mean, is it going to be social chaos? Is it going to be an asteroid? Is it going to be EMP? Or is it going to be nothing?
Well, I mean, we are right now, we being our little blue sphere, the Earth, is floating through. We're going through an area of the solar system of where I was told a dirty comet broke up, and more of the rocky parts of it can pose not, I guess, super significant problems, but we might be seeing some streaks in the sky, and maybe some stuff like we saw in Russia. So we might see that kind of stuff that might bring some fear and intrepidation to people that might, that cabal groups will try to capitalize on. They never let a good crisis go to waste. The Earth is going through these harmonic changes below our feet, so there are going to be some earthquakes. So, there's these changes are occurring, and they're completely natural. We just need to choose to change with it.
Okay, so what about the blue beam technology and the voice of God technology?
Well, blue beam pretty much is outdated. They could put some, secret space program craft in the skies flying around, and then use blue beam technology to make it look like there were much more of them. But the voice of God technology is quite a bit more insidious, in my opinion, because it has become so prevalent that it's an off-the-shelf technology now to varying degrees. Some of these federal dark groups have access to versions of it that give them the ability to just mentally harass people or make them hear voices. And more of these advanced groups have versions of it that do all kinds of scary stuff. They can almost do a remote control function, make you get up out of your bed, walk out into your street to where you can be abducted. So a lot of this technology is pretty scary. It has there could be positive and negative applications to some of this technology, because the data download feature, that would be great if you wanted to beam down the world history into someone in a matter of a couple of 20, 30 minutes. But when you're beaming disinformation or harassing them, trying to make them go insane and commit an act, that's obviously not a positive use of the technology.
Do you know how they actually tune into your frequency to actually do that?
Yeah, well, everyone has we'll call it a frequency, a different frequency, and that can be locked in on and by an antenna that picks up on the field, the person's field, that puts off a certain resonance or frequency, and they can lock on to that from outer space.
Wow, it's unbelievable, the tech that they have. It's it's frightening.
Oh yeah, it's so far beyond. It's truly going to sound like science fiction to everybody right now, and you hear people saying, "Oh, I just can't accept that information." And but when it is unrolled and we see it, all these people will be like, "Oh, of course, the scientific principles are there, we can't be driving around combustion engine cars for all this time, like we were saying earlier, So of course this stuff's been around the whole time, and then act like it's evident and self-evident and obvious.
Do you think they have time travel tech as well as the likes of replicators?
Oh, absolutely. If you have you get to a certain point and you're have advanced space travel, you're also time traveling. The technologies are very similar. So yeah, these advanced groups that have been traveling the cosmos are they're traveling space, the cosmos, but they're also time travelers.
Okay, and of course, when you have Hollywood movies like Elysium, where they have the actual tech where you lie somebody down in a machine, and whatever disease or illness that you have, it just heals it straight away.
Oh yeah. That's easy peasy. Yeah, they've just like we have a frequency resonance. Our frequency resonance comes from our DNA. I guess David and a few others have put out, our DNA is like an antenna that is broadcasting and receiving information. And, of course, we have our bio-neuro field that, puts off an electrical field. But so does different disease and different protozoa, different bacteria. They put off the same thing. And that frequency can be nullified. And the disease made inert. That can be done with cancer.
And do the elites have this technology themselves?
They do.
They do. Okay, and obviously they're not going to release it because they want to keep the money, the financial system going with all the pharmaceutical drugs and everything else. Before earlier on today, when we hooked up with you on Skype, I sent you over. There's obviously more questions going to be coming in, but I sent you over 4 questions that were emailed to us before you actually came on, and I sent them over to you. So I'm going to pass over to Steve, and Steve's going to start off with them 4 questions, and then we'll take it from there. There'll probably be more questions from the chat room. So over to you, Steve.
Okay, good information so far. A lot of interest on the chat room and a lot of questions coming in. But okay, we'll go to this one first. This one is from Karen, and Karen says, could you ask Corey what he thinks of imaging that CERN creates for those who invented it? That type of world for them and all who deliberately and with full knowledge are perpetrating the destruction of humanity and sucks them into their own black holiness, leaving healing and compassion and creativity for the rest of us.
Okay. Well, I guess the root question is, what do I think the CERN? What do I think is going on at CERN?
Yeah.
CERN is obviously, a multi-purpose program, just like most programs are. And, there are legitimate physicists that are trying to answer questions that they have on, unifying all these different principles with the model of physics they have to work with. There's a whole other hidden model of physics that they have been totally kept oblivious to. Well, there's that legitimate level of work that they're doing. Well, there are other things going on, and I'm not privy to that information, but we have to look at the construction of it, and the construction of it would create, over the size of it and the power that it's outputting, would create a torsion field. But it would be a weak one. It would have to be enhanced by being in a certain location and at certain precise intervals when the Earth is aligned with the sun and the cosmic web in a certain way that that part of the Earth grid is, electrically connected. The circuit is connected. Maybe that might provide some extra power for it to be able to create some sort of portal or something. But I really don't see the math, unless there's a lot more energy going into it than what's being reported. I don't see it being a portal. Maybe they could be playing around with some torsion fields, trying to figure out how to do some things with torsion physics that are already being done in the secret space program. But some of these lower special access programs are using it as a dual purpose to do some of their experiments. But that's me speculating after looking a little bit at some of the design and specs. I haven't had direct briefings on CERN, just as I haven't had them on 9/11 or chemtrailing.
Okay. Just when you mentioned the secret space programs there, just another question actually came in just in relation to that, so I'm going to throw that into the mix as well, and that's from Kim. Kim was wondering, does Australia, she's actually in Australia, does Australia have a secret space program? If so, do you know how does it fit in with the various the USA secret space programs?
Well, yeah, they're very much a part. Australia has different parts of their, infrastructure that are engaged in different special access programs. So they are involved from the bottom part of the special access lower secret space programs all the way up to the top. And it's like a layered cake and in varying degrees.
Okay, I hope that answered the question there for Kim.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. This question 2. Recently, it says a Brazilian guy made it public. This is Gothic, Gothic. He got a motorcycle that runs 500 kilometers on 1 liter of water. The engine works on the principles of electrolysis and using the hydrogen gas as fuel. Is this a leak from the Beyond Black programs? Will build schematics be made public, or do we get to enjoy the technology in another way? And a sub-question, it says, electricity prices in Belgium are set to go up by hundreds of euros at the end of the year. And this guy says, I've looked at the CERN generator to see if I can go off-grid. The device is not easy to build on first sight, and no build schematics can be found. Can you give us a hint?
I'm not real familiar with the CERN generator. Now, the device that runs off of the electrolysis principle and hydrogen gas, that's been developed by a number of people. That's one of the 5,000 plus patents that's been deemed classified by the United States. Many people have developed this technology. Many innovators have. And when they want to make it public, the, big energy companies and DOD comes in and says, be a patriot, or, this is, or they appeal to the people's greed, and give them just ungodly amounts of money, and sign papers that, are very binding. And the technology gets put on a shelf. So, the fact that we're hearing about it's encouraging. I would like to see it.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to see it. I mean, there's so much.
I've seen the video of the guy who on YouTube. Oh, yeah, the motorbike where he puts the water in. Now, is it a fake or is it true? Well, it's YouTube.
We've seen a lot of videos on YouTube whereby we've seen ones as well of people with a little diagram, a couple of pieces of wire and a couple of turns and a magnet, and he's lighting a light bulb, and people are going, wow. But then you show a video to someone who understands electronics, and they're going, well, hang on, that's a resistor, that's a rectifier. They wouldn't actually do anything together, and then they say, well, hang on a second, what's going on underneath the table? And a lot of these have been proven to be fake. But then again, this is bound to happen anyway. Yeah,
with that magnet thing with the motor ended up that the guy had a reed switch with 2 small batteries inside the DC motor, which was obviously making it spin and light the light bulb. But there you go.
But again, that's a classic case of, really, isn't it, that if there is technology like that will work and may work, and somebody puts it on YouTube, and then YouTube gets saturated by the trolls with all this other stuff, that's never going to work. So therefore, as you often say about putting the truth into a barrel full of lies, you put one piece of technology that will work into a barrel full of crap, and it's very hard to find it.
Well, the only way you can do it is to actually do the experiment yourself. And then put it on YouTube.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. You see all these black box technologies. People say, I've got this wonderful device. It's inside this black box. Well, I like to see acrylic box technology to where, you can see everything inside, and they can demonstrate every little thing and how it's working, and you can follow everything, and it can be repeated in multiple environments, not chosen by the person with the technology. Just a YouTube video of something. It can raise interest in a subject, but I've seen a lot of what they call black box technology pop up that when there's really nothing in the box.
Yeah, we said that actually in last week's show, that if there's any inventors out there, people that have an idea that's going to help, not so much free energy, but help save energy or save money, for them to contact us at OYM, and we'll be happy to have a look at it and give a bit of promotion to it, and try and look at ways to try and get it out there. But we'd have to see it. We'd have to see it in action. We can't just believe it offhand. We'd have to see it in action. But listen, we've got more questions for you, so I'll pop back over to Steve. Steve's going to carry on with the questions that we have.
Yeah, we've another question from Maureen this time. Maureen says, can you ask Corey to explain a little more about who he envisages signing up on his new website, fulldisclosure.org? He mentioned it briefly on his recent Jimmy Church interview. He has a list of types of people, mostly media related. Are those the only people he wants signing? It's not very clear, says Maureen.
Right. And yeah, that's a good question, because I'd like to clarify. And also the name, Full Disclosure Project. There are a lot of projects out there. I think Disclosure Now, Full Disclosure. I mean, Stephen Greer, my goodness, all the work he's done. There are a lot of projects out there that are doing a lot of work. And what we're trying to do is bring them together. And full disclosure means we want all the information, and we want full unity amongst all of us in trying to obtain it. Now, right now, we are in the process of forming all of the infrastructure, bringing in some very talented, we're bringing in a lot of attorneys, artists, marketing professionals, and we're preparing a guerrilla marketing campaign that's going to go out against, or not against, but go out to start to educate the general population, and it's going to be promoting information that is, like Stephen Greer and Dolan and more the nuts and bolts people, because those people they hear information like mine, and they're like scratching their head, and they have a hard time accepting it, and that's a good litmus test for us, because if they have a hard time accepting it, then the general population certainly is. But what is going to pique their interest are things that have to do with their everyday life. Everyone has someone who has succumbed to sad, unfortunate health circumstances. We've all, been sick of being under all these oil cartels and, having to drive these old technologies, and it just goes on and on. That information, and if people can be seated with the knowledge that technologies exist in our special access programs that, if released, could change our lives overnight, then these people are going to start looking at the information more and more. And we can see that by the way people are behaving out in public in every country right now. They're sick of corruption. They want the truth. They're turning off the televisions and going to the internet. Well, these people, once they, start looking at the nuts and bolts information, they're going to have more questions, and they're going to filter down to the rest of our information when they're ready. And they'll go through the same type of process many of us did, of awakening and then trying to filter through all of the information until we do, through the masses, finally getting to a point of asking questions to the powers that be, to where we tip the scales, and we are the catalyst that makes disclosure occur.
Unfortunately, that film comes to mind, Corey, when you talk about the disclosure. I think it's called Jerry Maguire, where you're talking about the truth, and the guy says you can't handle the truth. Sometimes I wonder.
Well, that's A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men, is it?
Yeah.
But sometimes I often wonder. I mean, people who are awake, let's say the likes of us here and people who are tuned in tonight and other people across the world, we're awake and we're trying to awaken other people. And I mean, okay, we're drip feeding them, really, because obviously we don't want to give people too much information at any one time, because it could blow their minds. But sometimes I often feel that, if full disclosure were to be given, would it even blow our minds? Because I mean, even though we may think that there are technologies out there that can do A, B, C, D, perhaps there's even better technology that we haven't even conceived that would melt our brains.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you, every single one of us, no matter how much we think we've got it figured out, when we get a full disclosure, we're going to be set back on our heels, have to sit back, put our head between our knees, let the color come back to our face, have a little paradigm shift, and get on with it. But we're going to be in a lot better shape than the rest of the masses. And David said this, and it's true. We're going to be the ones that are going to be going to family who have, had their belief systems crash and their idea of historical fact, or their ideas of historical all their ideas of history crash around them. We're going to have to deal with people that are going to not want to get out of bed or feed themselves, and that's going to be a part of the process. And it's not that we can't handle the truth; it's that they don't want to give us the truth because it's the end of their power. And we can handle the truth. Recently, Laura Eisenhower said in an interview, "Listen, we've handled all of their wars, their famine, their slavery. We've handled everything they've thrown at us. We can handle the truth. Give us the opportunity and quit playing with our minds."
But can you imagine, Corey? I mean, even people like ourselves who are aware of we have an idea what's going on. We don't know the full picture, but we know what's going on, and we know there's been a lot of lies. History has to be rewritten. Even to us, it'll be a shock when we're told certain things of things that happen in history. So for people who are in the Matrix, it will just kind of fry their brain. They just won't be able to comprehend it. It'll be just, as you say, they'll stay in bed and not get up because they just won't be able to deal with it. Now, one of the things that we've come across before, and I don't know whether you can confirm this, but maybe key people in certain areas, we talk about when you're asleep, you astro travel and all that kind of stuff. Is it a case that there's key people being given information or have been allocated the knowledge, or there's a reason why we are doing what we're doing? Because when people are running around like headless chickens going, "I don't believe it, disclosure, da-di-da-di-da," we're there to go, "Okay, calm down, this is the way it is, this is what's been going on." I mean, have you been told anything about that certain people that will be their job, that's their job to...
Absolutely. And it's something that I would like to encourage mental health experts and different counselors that are involved, are interested in this topic, to look into. They've developed different programs to disseminate. They've broken down the different demographics across the globe and the different cultures and how they may react to this news, and the best way for mental health and other types of officials to come in and assist. And that information will be disseminated down to these professionals at that time. Just like they have these types of packages, if there is a disease that's ravaging the country, they have information to give to these people to help people cope with that. I mean, they have all these different contingency plans. But, the information, the people they're going to be giving this information to, the mental health experts, the first responders, all the people that they want to help the masses or a part of the masses, they're going to be freaking out too. So a lot of it's going to fall on the shoulders of what we call the truther or awakened community, although we're not as awake as we think we are. Yeah. But we're close. We're pretty close.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, based on the location where myself and Steve are, and I'm sure people listening to the show are in the same position, that if they're the people who are awake and aware, and they know the neighbours around them don't know anything of what's going on, then they'll probably be the people that will be saying, okay, calm down, sit down, this is what's going on. Because the shock of, being told that everything that you've been told since you were born is wrong, or the majority of what you've been told is wrong, it's just a shock to the system.
Well, and people go through the same thing. If someone dies, you go through denial and anger, and finally when you go through bartering, and then when before you get to acceptance, and when you're given this information to a person, and you receive the first 3 steps in your face, it's not very much fun. Denial and anger, it can be very uncomfortable. That's why I encourage people, if they want to try to start making people aware, is not come at them with all of this information that's just, they're not going to be able to accept. Like, if you come at them with information about the blue avians, they're going to crinkle up their forehead and listen to you maybe politely, but they'll shut you out. But if you approach them with, scenarios talking about, free energy from unacknowledged programs that the government has, well, that's more believable, and that starts to crack open their reality bubble enough to where later on because if they're thinking, they're logically going to go through the process. Okay, if we have these technologies, then other things may be true, and they'll entertain it a little bit depending on the person. And when this information comes out, their psyches are seeded or prepared a certain amount.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's bit by bit, just the basic stuff first before you get down to the advanced stuff. Steve has another question for you there. Steve.
Yeah, we have another question from Chris, and Chris says, I've no doubt that after listening to many hours of interviews with Corey and David, that they are both very sincere and their intentions are honourable. It's evident that there is a hidden hand controlling humanity, not only in recent times, but possibly as long as there have been life on our planet. This force constantly remains hidden and camouflaged from everyone. Traditionally, it hid behind the written word of the 3 main religions, dividing and separating the human race. In more recent times, as people wake up from their slumber, largely due to faster forms of communication, this hidden hand adapts to the new psychological matrix and reveals itself in different guises. To some, it's New Age teachings, others, it's the UFO enigma, etc. But ultimately, it's just the same control in new clothes. Is it possible that Corey and other whistleblowers are telling the truth, but are being used by the same hidden force that has been manipulating the world all along? There will be no disclosure, no event, and whether this negative controlling force is extraterrestrial or interterrestrial, it does not matter. And Chris goes on to say, we are just unwitting pawns in a game we may never know.
Well, the opposition or the cabal, they are going to use everything they can to their advantage. So yes, myself and other whistleblowers, some of them, whether they be telling the truth or whether they be misrepresenting or whether they be manipulated, there are definitely some in this field that are being manipulated, and others that are under their own volition, seeking attention. And there are others sharing what they have actually experienced. So when it comes down to it, if all we have to rely on is the information that people are reporting, we're going to be chasing our tails, and we're always going to be chasing our tails. And what he just said will be a self-fulfilled prophecy. We'll never get disclosure on extraterrestrials or the technologies. And that's kind of the point of why the Cabal sends people in to seed disinformation. That's the whole point of this full disclosure project, is to put blinders on to all of these different whistleblowers, contactees, abductees, all the different people that have all this different information that, some of it coincides, but a lot of it, is contradictory to each other. And it does what it's supposed to. It causes confusion in the community. So if we can, agree to disagree on our ideologies and focus on what we have in common, which is we all want disclosure, we all want the truth, then I think that, we will have disclosure. And if we all join together and try to force disclosure and it doesn't happen, well, at least we don't have ourselves to blame. We got out there and we tried. We put our skins in the game. And we didn't sit behind and just, bang on the keyboard and throw our opinion out into the mix, thinking that that's our contribution.
Yeah, and I suppose there's enough people doing that, enough keyboard warriors, without adding to the mix. But what about when we're talking about just kind of going about disclosure again and space and space programs? What would you say to people, Corey, who say there is no space?
There is no space?
Yeah, a lot of people have said, and this has been going on for a while. And anytime we might be talking here about space, and we often have people on the chat rooms discussing flat Earth versus globe Earth, and that there is no space, there is no outer space. That was kind of we're in a bubble or we're in a dome, and they say there is no space.
I'm sorry to say that was really really a psyop in this community, and it came from there people that were in NASA and other groups that were behind that. And I've stated before, every time I've been around the 160,000 feet mark, I start to see a really pronounced curvature of the Earth. And I've flown around many planetary spheres, and I've seen nothing but spherical geometry.
Okay, well, I suppose you've seen it, but again, a lot of people haven't, and I suppose they're not going to. And some people try to explain that it's a mental exercise. I really have nothing to contribute on that subject. It's with me and my experiences. It seems like a silly topic to me, and I don't want to disrespect people that have that are fully invested in that idea. It's just my personal experience. Okay.
It's all spherical.
No,
mostly spherical.
Okay, well that's fine. We'll move on anyway. Chris is on the chat room. He says, when Corey was brought back from Mars and the 20 years were reversed, can you remember anything from the future?
Well, it would no longer be after around the 2007-8 time frame. It would not be the future, as in our future. So I don't quite understand the question. Okay.
Well, maybe Chris, if you can clarify that, maybe. We move on with a question from Kim. Kim is in Australia, as mentioned, and she says, have you had any more contact with the Agarthans?
Yes. I've had ongoing contact with Kari. I've had a few meetings, more than a few, and Lieutenant Colonel Gonzalez has, until recently, had been spending quite a bit of time staying with the Anshar group, but he's no longer with them, and that's going to be that may or may not be in my report, the reasoning. But yes, the short answer is yes. I've been in communication.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, is there any new information that you could share, or is that maybe an exclusive or anything that people wouldn't have heard before? Maybe something new in the pipeline?
Well, a lot of the information I was going to write a report on, but it started popping out, and a lot of it in other sources. Like, I shared the information about, I got a report on, these Cabal groups, pushing thousands of ISIS troops into, Europe and the U.S. to begin to get set up for some spectacular attacks as their last hurrah. And bits and pieces of that came out in the news right after I was told, not exactly that scenario, but hundreds of people had been, of ISIS troops or fighters had been sent into Europe, I believe, made it onto the news. I heard a report on the very advanced bases in Brazil in South America that I just reported here. That was a new exclusive, and about these advanced submarines that were the size of cargo ships carrying shipping containers and people underneath the ocean and the continent of South America to western Antarctica.
Okay.
And let's see. The rest of it I've got written up in my notes, and I've been giving David Wilcock a bunch of updates and information when he was in the crunch finishing his book, which he just finished, the Ascension Mysteries, revealing the cosmic battle between good and evil, where he puts pretty much the history of the solar system and disclosure in the book. So I've been spending a lot of time, working with him, whenever he wants to call different insiders to verify information. I've been working on that and the Full Disclosure Project and a lot of art for Cosmic Disclosure. So I really need to get I got a couple reports I need to get out very soon.
And are you still being watched by the Cabal? Or are they trying to stop you doing what you do?
Well, I mean, they're not directly intervening, but, I'm still having, strange electronic interference. As I told you before, the show, 10 minutes after you sent me some information in Skype this morning, I had another Chinook fly over my home, and I got about 30 seconds of that on video. So, they're doing these kind of, pretty audacious, little intimidation tactics, but, it's nothing that's been highly threatening, so far. There's been a few scares. Some of the things that, I guess, worried me the most were not from, the secret programs, gang stalkers. It was from people that were trolls on the internet that found out where my old property was, where I lived, and began harassing my family.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's I suppose that's part and parcel of being in this kind of arena. This subject matter is that you're going to attract certain people who are probably don't have your best interest at heart. So you have to be careful with security. I think we have more questions coming in there, Steve.
Yeah, just on the topic of the website, Corey, fulldisclosureproject.org. I see you do have a homepage up, and it does say that it's coming soon. Do you have a launch date for the website?
Yeah, this is a temporary splash screen, and some of the people that are signing up are assisting our web development team, because this site is gonna take a little bit to get set up, and I'm wanting us to get together and do a nonprofit organization, and set up. We're gonna do crowdfunding, donations, and set it up to where everything's transparent. Anyone can go to the website and see where every penny's going in this advertising campaign. And another huge part of the Full Disclosure Project, and why they see us asking for media people, is we're bringing together people that are producers, that do audio, video, editing, just all of that, that want to come together and do really cool projects on disclosure. And there are all of these very wealthy people out there that want to work on ascension material or positive UFO material that will, bring people up instead of bring them down. And they're wanting to, help people make these kinds of films. So if we can help get, people like that together, then that's going to be a feather in the cap for everyone in the community.
Well, that's one of our ideas as well over here. We have on the website the 300k plan, and we just kind of call it that because roughly, obviously, the more money you have, the more you can do, as we all know. But the idea will be we can't rely on the governments, because the governments are not going to help us.
No way.
They're just in this system for themselves and doing what they're doing. And we see it more and more. There was a big meeting over here yesterday in Ireland, and there's a lot of groups turned up. Unfortunately, we couldn't get down to it. It's down in Portlaoise in the Collection Hotel. And a lot of people were there talking about what's going on in the country. And even last week we read out about certain suicides that have gone on because of the banking system. And we do keep saying that, we are the people we've been waiting on. I know it's a cliche, but we are, because we will have to take our energy and take the time and do it ourselves. Because if you're going to wait on the government to do it, it's never going to happen.
We can manifest this.
Yeah.
The biggest secret is that, we have a co-creative consciousness and ability to manifest what we've created in our imaginations. And humanity has done that consistently, even under this oppression. So we've had the knowledge stripped from us that we have a co-creative consciousness and we can directly affect our reality. And, we are grabbing that knowledge and we're taking it back, and we want to spread it.
Yeah. And everybody has the ability to, as you say, to manifest and get involved and take the energy. The problem is that we've come across is that obviously with the food we're eating, it tends to affect our energy, and people want to kind of sit down on the couch, watch TV, and not everybody, but there is a certain number in the population who don't want to get involved, or they can't be bothered. And so it does take energy to get involved and do these things.
Well, you hit a key thing on the food. And, David has talked about, some of his insiders have told him for years, and this is that our food has been weaponized, that, all the things that they do to the food before it gets to us, before it's even prepared, is meant to bring down our energy, our frequency, and that's one of the things that the Blue Avians, they kept working on me, get on a high vibrational diet. And I didn't. I was eating corn dogs. I was eating just like horrible, and do you know what corn dogs are?
We've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, they're just this processed meat on the end of a stick with corned breading on them. So, all kinds of nasty stuff. And it was, and finally, I ended up getting food poisoning, and something happened to where my brain like the medulla oblongata, I don't know, something switched off, and my body would not consume any food at all. And then once I could not consume meat. I could only eat vegetables and mostly fruit. And if I tried to eat meat, it made me ill. And so it's been a few months now. I've been completely vegan. And so they found a way to force me, because I was stubborn, to get on this high vibratory diet. And since I have, there's been a huge change in the way I think and feel. I lost 18 pounds between in like the 3 weeks I saw David when we shot Cosmic Disclosure and the Conscious Life Expo. It was just that change in my diet made there was such an amazing change in my life that it was really kind of hard to believe, and I felt stupid for not making the change earlier. Well,
we've heard this on a regular basis about obviously changing diet. We've had nutritionists on and doctors on talking about this and about the poisons in our food, which were familiar with aspartame and the MSGs, and changing. One of the movies that is out there in the 1970s was a movie called Silent Green, which starred Charlton Heston. And they talk about the lack of food that's out there. And I won't do a spoiler, but it's not very nice, the food that they're giving you. What they pass off as food, which is not really food. So go and see the movie Silent Green.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's because we were told about the movie by John Irwin, who's a kind of super soldier, and he is what he is. And he told us, he said, this is what they want to do because the resources of the earth are finite and they're going to run out. I mean, that truck that's going to Walmart or Tesco's or whatever, that's not going to happen. I mean, there's going to be a time where that won't be able to turn up because we'll have maybe, I don't know whether the Disclosure Project and everything else will get sorted before that happens. But the resources of the planet are just dwindling to a level where we won't have that truck turning up all the time to the store. And the food, I mean, even now, if you think about it, the food they're giving us is not really food. And somebody said it to us. They said, if you go into a supermarket and you have a health food section, well, if that's the health food section, what's in the other food?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a giveaway, that is really.
Yeah, it is.
So, so basically what we're trying to say to people is that we're going to have to go down the organic route, get raised beds, start growing your own food. But I know in the States that they're trying to cut down that as well. They're trying to stop people from collecting their rainwater and trying to stop people from growing their own food.
And people are fighting it. You got these people out there doing this like guerrilla gardening where they're, gardening and growing food and letting people come pick food out of their front yard. And, people, fighting back. But yeah, in some states, you cannot collect your own water that falls out of the sky.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, we were told that one of our politicians over here in Ireland, remember that, Steve? He actually said that, do you think water falls out of the sky?
Yeah.
Which politician was it? Yeah, okay. Basically, he got ribbed for that statement. He obviously said it off the top of his head without actually thinking about what he was going to say. And because we have a big issue here, we know water's the blue gold, and over here they're trying to privatise the water in Ireland.
Yeah, you were talking about this the last time David and I were on. That's still going on.
It's still going on, and we've had an election. And we've no government at the moment. As far as I know, we don't have any government at the moment.
No, we may have one by Tuesday. I believe they're still in talks, and it's looking good for maybe some agreements. But unfortunately, the two parties who are having the discussions are the two parties who are for water charges.
Exactly. Yeah. Now the deal apparently was that Fine Gael said, which is obviously Enda Kenny, our current government that's in there. They said that if we keep this is just local issues or national issues over here in Ireland. That Fine Gael said if they keep the water charges, they'll drop the universal social charge, which should have been dropped because we're only supposed to have that for 4 years anyway.
Yeah.
Right? But like the actual voluntary tax after the War of Independence, they didn't tell you that it was voluntary and they kept on taking tax off you. By the way, I did post up an article on our Facebook page, and it was a couple of politicians in the States talking about the IRS stating the fact that tax was always voluntary in America, and tax is always voluntary in Ireland as well. So if people want to actually look at that video, go over to our Facebook page, Open Your Mind Radio, and you'll see the video where the actual American politicians are actually saying that tax is voluntary and always was. Sorry, that's sidetracking from what we're talking about, but again, it's a topic of interest. But yeah, the water over here, again, it's the same. You have the issues over there in Flint with the water as well, and it seems to be the blue gold, because we don't have endless resources, and if the Cabal keep doing what they're doing and they want to punch the ball and not let anybody else play with it, then they want, what I can say anyway, is social chaos. They want to push people to the stage where they have to implement martial law, and not just in America, but I think globally.
I agree. I agree. That's and even parts of the plan that the Alliance are implementing may require a short period of martial law, and parts that they're writing in, which Americans will not like, are confiscating firearms and, a bunch of other, things that, will not make people happy, but, that's part of the reason why, they're doing also the debt forgiveness and giving people, these funds that have been rumored for about how long have they been talking about this? Like a decade now.
Years, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons it's going to be kind of a carrot and stick approach to get people to, flip over to this new financial system and new control system.
Which is it going to be controlled by the Cabal? Is that the idea, that they crash the system and they obviously problem reaction solution, that they'll come in again and they'll say, well, okay, that's the system crashed, but we have a new solution over here, and then they'll be controlling that as well?
Well, it won't necessarily be the Cabal controlling them, but a lot of the people in the Alliance, these people aren't angels. They're morally compromised people. A lot of them, for the most part, they are. And power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So they're setting, they could possibly be setting up a situation for maybe another version of the Cabal, I guess you could say, or another version, or a New World Order 2.0, or there's a lot of speculation that we could put forth, and a lot of it has to go towards, or comes from our deep-seated fear and mistrust of the Cabal and the New World Order and all of these plans that we've been hearing that they've been trying to implement. So naturally we're going to overlay that on any type of other world government structure and assume that their agenda is going to be similar. But it may be, it may not be, but the potential for more corruption is there. So coming up to, we're in 2016 now, obviously we're in April, and what do you see happening up to December 2016? What do you think? What are you being told? What do you think is coming down the line? What can you tell us? I think it's going to be what the conversation I had with Gonzalez last is he said that he thought 2016 would be seen as the year of revolution, or the beginning of the revolution of the people, and not violent revolution, but a point to where all of us collectively have stood up and said, enough of this corruption, enough of this secrecy, enough of these lies. I mean, you see what's happening, people in Brazil standing up, people across Europe, and I mean, just, it's happening all over. It's like the 100th monkey effect. Everybody is coming up with, the same type of ideas, and everyone's ready for change, and a real change. And if they don't have it, then, the masses are going to rise up in some sort of fashion.
Do you think that this so-called energy that's hitting the planet is something got to do with it?
Absolutely. And it's been made extremely clear to me, not just from the experiments in the secret space program when they went out and sampled this energy and reproduced it in a lab environment and put people in a closed-in environment and exposed them to these energetic frequencies, and noted that people that were negatively oriented, which wasn't hard to find those, became very, very negative, and people that were more of the positive, happy-go-lucky became more blissful and laid back and relaxed and happy when exposed to this exact same energy. So they, were trying to reconcile, they had to reconcile that. But this same energy, and I think David told me that Richard C. Hoagland coined the phrase that, the good are getting better and the bad are getting worse. And I like to throw in there that the crazy are getting crazier. These energies are coming in at such a rate that many are having problems acclimating to the energy, and it's not a constant flow of energy. It ebbs and flows. It's it's not like you jump in the cold water and your body adjusts and then you're there. It's constantly changing, ebbing and flowing, and we are we're kind of being thrown around in the current. Yeah. But trying to get a hold of the rudder and go the right direction. It's really tough. It's going to be tough on everybody, but those who are more selfish to others and positive oriented are going to have a lot better time.
Yeah, we heard this from a number of guests saying that that's what's happening with the energy, that the people who are the negatives are going to find it harder because that's energy, good energy, bad energy, the karma and everything else.
It's not compatible. Yeah, their vibration. We were talking earlier about how everybody has their own frequency vibration that it can be targeted by certain technologies. Well, this frequency also that we're like antennas, we're sending and we're receiving. Well, if we're lower vibrational and very caught up in finances and manipulating people and trying to get money and that kind of thing, then these energies aren't going to cascade over us like water off of a duck's back as much as they would if we were always looking out for other people, trying to help people, trying to lift people up instead of knocking them down.
Yeah. Well, this is the whole thing. This is why we kind of talk about the fluid belief system, and we all need to move away from ego and ignorance and move towards humility and wisdom. And we see it on a regular basis. We see, and I'd say that adult children, and because you get adults who are still like children. Yeah. I'm sure you come across them. We come across them all the time. And you think, there's a time in your life that you have to say, I'm going to grow up and be an adult and stop being a child. But, I've seen... It's time to put away childish things, and people get mad when you say that, because everyone has an idea of how evolved and advanced they are. Yeah. And, we're on this planet, we've been suppressed, and we're just not there yet. We have the capability. But we can't be too confident in how spiritually advanced we are with how much suppression and interference we've had to deal with. Yeah. Well, and I see it myself with, I'll just say certain relatives that even though they're a certain age, they still have a child mentality. Or they're locked into their little reality bubble of perception, and they will not let anything new in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cognitive dissonance also with information that we give them. But we have about 10 minutes left, Corey. So I'm going to pop over to Steve. Steve is going to ask you a few questions. If we can quick forward them over to you, if you can do a quick answer on them, that'd be fantastic.
Let's do it.
Okay. We've one here from Obi-Wan on People's Internet Radio chat room, and he says, guys, can you ask Corey, when he made contact for the first time, what was the greeting? What way did he react or cope with first contact?
Well, I'm assuming, since they mentioned the greeting, that they're talking about the blue avians and not my first alien contact or non-terrestrial contact when I was very young. The blue avians, I'm not going to obviously give the actual greeting, but the first contact, they first contact you in very vivid dreams, and then make sure that they have your permission to have a physical contact. Not just your permission, but there's some sort of deeper agreement that, you know, that they don't want to violate any type of free will or break any other cosmic laws. They're already karmically bound to us in a certain way, so they handle things very delicately. So, but the greeting was more or less for me to know that I was receiving information to and from them, and it wasn't coming from a trickster source.
Okay, and what was? I know you say they come to you in a vivid dream, but can you remember, like, what was your reaction?
I was shocked. I was in wonder. It was such a beautiful, exciting. It was a very beautiful, exciting experience. You know, and I was, for a few days, I was, when I was in my waking state thinking about it, it was confusing because I had never seen or heard of a being like that in my previous years, and so it was, it was, you know, it was very, it was confusing. You know, until I started having, you know, the physical contact, the first, you know, few times when I was having dream contact with them, it was confusing. I mean, it was very real, but at the same time, I knew of different technologies that were available. So, you know, I went into it with skepticism, but I intuitively I felt positive about it. It was very exciting, and I just felt like it was something that I came here to do, or it was meant to be. Yeah. And on another level, it felt almost like a reunion.
Okay, so it wasn't like a scary experience then.
Oh, absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not.
Oh, that's good. Okay, we have another question here from Kim. Kim is wondering, Corey, have you read The Law of One yet? If you have, what's your take on the SBA? She says the Sphere Being Alliance.
No, I haven't, and I made a deal with David that I would read it before the next taping, and I'm not going to be able to live up to my end of the bargain there. I've got the book in my possession, and I'm going to begin reading it very soon. After I've got to get some report. I've got a lot of work to do, but I need to read it, and I'm going to make time to do so.
Okay, well, maybe when you do a part 3 with us at some point in the future, you can give us some more information.
I'll be back. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Chris says, Corey is an excellent guest. Please thank him on my behalf. And Chris has also said the virtual pub crawl that we have going for the past couple of years, it's a virtual thing. Chris says he's going to buy a beer on the virtual pub crawl.
A what?
A beer.
A beer on the virtual what?
Yeah, pub crawl. You know the bars or the pubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have this it's a virtual pub crawl, as we call it. So
okay.
if a guest comes on and everyone enjoys the guest and, they resonate with the guest, then he's invited to the pub crawl.
Oh, cool, yeah. I enjoy a pint from time to time.
Good. Well, that's how it works. Maybe we'll get a pint in reality sometime. Corey, listen, we've reached that time. Thanks very much for coming on the show. It's much appreciated. We know you're doing an awful lot of work there in the background. More than probably what you can say for now. It's much appreciated, and thanks for coming on and giving us an update, part 2. As I say, we'll do a part 3 maybe further down in the year to find out what's going on. So a big thank you. I'm going to pass you over to Steve, and Steve's going to get all your contact information so people know where to find you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Cheers.
Pleasure's all ours. FullDisclosureProject.org is the website, Corey. Is there any other links that you want to throw out there where people can find out some more about Corey and the great work that you're doing?
Yeah, if they go to blueavians.com and sign up for a subscription at Gaia TV, David and I get a small little contribution. That's one of the only ways that we make income. And that will assist us, and then you can, watch all of our videos. And then again, there's our spherebeingalliance.com website and the fulldisclosureprogram.org site. And I think that covers it.
So what was that last one again? I was too busy typing spherebeingalliance.com. I missed the last one.
FullDisclosureProject.org.
Oh, yeah, that's the first one I gave out, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, we have that one, sorry.
Excellent.
I thought it was a different one.
Brilliant. And just one more quick question before we leave you, Corey. Joan wants to know, who are the people that you're speaking to? So, are they the blue
it's us. It's Alan and Steve.
No. She's talking about on the ET side.
Well, I'm speaking to several different groups. They've had me speak to the Draco Federation group on their behalf. Okay. They've had me speak with the Super Federation on their behalf, which was made up of up to 60 different groups. They've had me speak with the Secret Space Program Alliance.
So you're like an ambassador, really?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, well, hopefully that answers your question there, John. Okay, Corey, just stay with us there for a minute. We're just going to go off to a musical break and we'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com, UnitedWeStrike.com, and PeoplesInternetRadio.com. Okay,
and we're back. Yeah, Corey, good information with Corey. We just had a quick yap with him there during the musical break, and he has agreed. He said he'd love to come on, and he was just informing us that he has been asked to do a lot of speaking engagements in Europe, so he may be coming to a venue near you within the not too distant future. But sure, if and when we have any more information about that, we'll let you know.
Cool. How's your week, Steve?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, he's getting something out of his... Oh, hang on. Wow, here's the script again.
Yeah, no, okay. It's just, again, it worked out well for me last week, stuff that I had been looking at during the week.
Okay.
And I made some notes.
Right, okay.
I wasn't kind of wrecking my brain there, lastminute.com.
Not your shopping list.
It is my shopping list. Okay, go to Tesco's. Yeah, anyway, I've got something that I came across during the week. A health tip, which I thought was quite interesting. And it's a food stuff called hummus. I know it's something that my wife eats from time to time, and it never really appealed to me. Then again, it just doesn't look nice. But I do eat peanut butter. Anyway, but it's chickpeas. They say hummus, chickpeas, olive oil, and lemon juice. And a recent study on high cholesterol, people would suffer from high cholesterol and would normally be put onto statin drugs. A 5-month study has shown that just by adding 2 servings of either lentils, chickpeas, split peas, split beans to their diet can actually lower their cholesterol and bring it outside the range where they would normally be prescribed statin drugs. Not that we say statin drugs are, we're not saying they're bad, but we're not saying they're good either. Well, we are saying they're bad. I'm kind of saying they're bad. But yet, one of the studies brought the cholesterol level down from 260 milligrams per litre to 160 milligrams per litre. So, seemingly it's a superfood that we it's overlooked a lot, chickpeas. But, definitely, the chickpeas, the olive oil and the lemon juice, making your own hummus. I'm gonna try it and say I've tried other stuff before and I've got used to it. The likes of spirulina, tried that a long time ago and well used to that now. So, maybe I'll give hummus a go. What else have we got here? In November 2015, seemingly, depending on who you ask, there was news in relation to the Vatican owning brothels in Italy.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I heard the rumour.
Yeah, seemingly they bought up an apartment block for €23 million, and leaks from two individuals. One was a laywoman, and the other one was a Monsignor. They say that this block of apartments is also houses the EMC, which is the Europa Multi Club, which just happens to be one of it's Italy's largest gay sauna, and seemingly that a lot of the priests would frequent there, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's owned by the Vatican. Can it be proven? I don't know. It's just, I'm not going to say it's hearsay. It's not really hearsay. It's seemingly the investigation was done and links have been found. But like everything else, I'm sure it's all hush-hush and under the carpet. And then the last thing I want to talk about was a disorder that I hadn't heard of before, and I thought it was quite interesting, called BIID, Body Integrity Identity Disorder. What is BIID, I hear you ask?
What is...
There you go.
What is it?
Yeah. As the saying goes, I'm working with a live audience tomorrow night. Anyway, see me, this was last year, a North Carolina woman called Jewel Shuping. She was born with this disorder and she battled it all of her life. And it just means basically that you're unhappy with your body and you believe that you should be a different way than that what you are. In other words, this lady was born and there was nothing wrong with her. And she believed from an early age that she should have been born blind.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my reaction.
That's a bit, I was going to say like anorexia, but it's kind of a version of that.
Yeah, in a kind of a weird sort of way. But she said she believed that she should have been born blind. This disease does affect a lot of people. People, they can get through it and they can get over it, they can get past it, but she couldn't. And what she ended up doing in the end, when she reached 21, she had already bought herself a white stick. She'd been using it. She learned how to read Braille.
Wow.
That's how far she was going. And the last resort was, and this is how she lost her family, her family haven't spoken to her after this, but seemingly she went to a psychologist and spent a week with him, and he tried to, obviously he tried to talk her out of it and all, but her mind was made up. So in the end, he put some drops in her eyes to numb her eyes, and then he got drain cleaner and injected drain cleaner into her eyes. And then he brought her to an emergency room. They tried to help her, and seemingly over the next 5 to 6 weeks, she went blind. And she's given interviews since this happened, and she said it was the best thing she ever did. Wow. Because she always felt that she should have been blind from birth.
Wow.
So body integrity, disorder. What did I say it was? Body integrity identity disorder. Wow. Yeah. Make sure you haven't got that. Anyway, how was your week?
Not too bad. Just a couple of things as usual. On the website dailyrecords.us, there's been an investigation. An investigation was launched into vaccines used at UK school for boys after several students fell ill from receiving the jabs. As many as 15-year-old 10 students at the Northampton School for Boys collapsed onto the floor Tuesday following a series of vaccines which resulted in severe adverse side effects. Now, funny enough, I was talking to somebody this week, to a person that his daughter was given the Gardasil vaccine, and she is suffering from symptoms regarding it, and he's been pushed from pillar to post by the doctors are recommending more pharmaceutical drugs and everything else, and he's up the wall about it. So I kind of gave him a few ideas, and left him with that. And hopefully he'll go off and check it out. Not good with the Gardasil, but we all know about the Gardasil. We've all heard about it, so, we have to be careful with that. The other thing that, during the week was, we talk about the country being in a bit of a state, and people complaining about business and everything else, okay? And I went down to the local dump to drop off some, grass cuttings, alright, to go down to the local recycle centre.
You recycle your grass?
I do. I went down. I'm doing my bit I'm doing my bit for the earth,
He recycles his grass. If anyone wants to buy some grass, Alan has some for sale.
Don't smoke it, recycle it. And but we got down at 4:45, and the guy was there, and the gate had already been closed and padlocked. And we said to the guy, well, we want to drop off
throw it over the
2
railings,
bags. Yeah, I think I should have done that. And he said, we closed at 4:45. And I said, well, it's 4:45 now. He goes, no, it's 4:47. Right? You're talking about like the council, right?
Yeah.
Now, most businesses in Ireland are, 5:30, 6 o'clock maybe. But no, the councils close at like 4:45. And we were 2 minutes over. And we only had 2 bags. And yet he wouldn't let us in with the 2 bags. And it's this manana, I have to have my tea and sandwiches, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, closing time. And we wonder why Ireland is in the state that it's in. Well, that's why, because of that attitude. And we really, really have to get away from that attitude. But, you're dealing with the council, what can you do? That's
so you just left the bags outside, did you?
So we had to go away, and we had to go back with the bags another time, But that's why it's just a mad attitude. It's just madness. Really is madness. And we wonder why the country is in the state. And people complain of business, Well, the same with when people close down. I went to another place during the week to get my tyre fixed on the car. And 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, the gates were closed. I'd have me tea and sandwiches. No staggered lunch breaks. That would be too logical, So instead of, having a staggered lunch break with staff, they just closed the whole lot down from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clolock.
Well, maybe there's only one guy there.
And
he had his lunch break from 1 to 1:30, then he had a 1:30 to 2.
Well, when you're a business owner, there's no such thing as 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock lunch break, to be honest with you, when you run the business. Right. And
but to be fair, to be fair, anyone who's ever seen the Waltons, it's a different pace of life down there. It really is. Seriously.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I found a problem. I come across a techie problem with the OYM players on the site and YouTube and Facebook. For some reason that when you go into YouTube and try and play a video and then you go to the OYM website to click on the player, sometimes they don't work right. And this is on Firefox, by the way. So just to be aware that if you are going from YouTube or Facebook to the actual players on OYM and you're having a problem, you might have to shut down your browser completely and then open it up and just go straight to OYM. And that should sort the problem with the players. I don't know what's going on between Firefox. It's definitely Firefox and Facebook. There's something going on there. Sometimes you play a YouTube video and you go into Facebook, and then when you come back, YouTube's just sitting there and it's just spinning and not doing anything. And you have to close everything down and then bring it up, open it up again for some reason. So there you go. So just to be aware that there is a problem. Right, the guest for next week, we're just waiting on confirmation from a couple of guests for next week, depending on who gets back to us. So we'll keep you posted on that and let you know. And if there is any amateur astronomers in Ireland that actually are seeing anything like Planet X and Nibiru or the second sun, by all means get in touch with us, because we'd like to see it ourselves. As we talk to Corey on it tonight, there's nothing like seeing it for yourself as proof, rather than just seeing photos and videos of it on YouTube, because you never know what's real and what's fake. So if there's anybody out there that is seeing it, then let us know. We'll try and take a spin down and have a look. But that's the news. That's really what's been happening. As I say, we are waiting on confirmation for our guests for next week, so we can't really confirm anything until they get back to us. So if you check out the schedule and let us know, again, very quickly, if you can spare a couple of euros, if you have a spare for donations for OYM, it's much appreciated. It really does help in what we do and getting the equipment up and running. And it's just, it helps contribute to bills and all that kind of stuff that are going on here in Walton's Mountain. But for myself, anyway, take care of yourself. I hope you liked the interview tonight with Corey. We'll do a part 3 another time. For myself, Alan James, take it easy, have a safe week, and we'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, and as I say every week, if you're listening to us on the OYM stream, that's going to be closing down shortly. So if you want some more great entertainment for the rest of the evening, because I slide on over to People's Internet Radio. Vin's going to be on the airwaves there at 9 p.m.
He's going to be talking about the census.
He's going to be talking about the census.
Or the non-census.
A nonsensical census.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we'll do it all again in a week's time. So for myself, Stephen George, take it easy and stay safe. Bye-bye.